Hey, if you're ambitious but inconsistent, this video should help. Uh, for those of you that know my story, cool. If you guys don't know my story, my name is Thompson O. At 18, I left my city and I joined the military. Went to the army mainly because we were fucking broke. I had no money. My mom had no money. There was just zero chance I was going to college. Uh, Left the military, got home, big dreams, aspirations, ended up scrubbing toilets, working at a commercial gym, learned to sell really well. I was door dashing on the side, used my sales skills to join a small business, uh, which was really fucked up because it was a strange mix between a joint venture and employment. So just imagine the crossroad between the two. Very fucked up. Long story short, no money, 1 to 2 years, standard startup phase shit. uh, I had no money. I was not willing to invest any more energy or time. I bounced. Company did really well, broke me off a piece. And so with that, I've learned a lot, failed a lot, suffered a lot, and I hope I can just serve you. So, number one, I want to start with this idea of ambition. What is ambition? And I define ambition as a desire to obtain something. That's it. A deep intrinsic desire to obtain something. And I think one of the main reasons that I love defining things and I'm so adamant on like what does that mean is because fundamentally I do not understand the cosmos and I don't understand the universe and I don't understand the world. That's just me. There are some people in this world that think they do understand the world, and that's amazing. I don't. So I like to define things. And when I define things, it just gives me, it enhances the clarity of whatever it is I'm trying to understand or see. So in regards to ambition, if I do not define it, then I am just assuming that it is something. And I draw from what society says ambition is, what my family says ambition is, what my friend says ambition is. And that isn't something that's true to me because it's not my definition. I don't believe that's what ambition is, right? Most of the things that we are taught or that we believe, we don't even believe because we truly believe. We believe because we've been taught, we believe because we've never cared to question. That's a whole nother conversation. But with ambition, it's simply a really deep intrinsic desire to obtain something, which um, I actually believe is the root of all suffering. I define suffering as constantly desiring things. That's why we suffer. We suffer because we want something. We realize that the universe doesn't bend to our will and get on her knees and delivers us whatever we want immediately at the moment that we ask. And then we start suffering because we're like, damn, why is the world not behaving how I want it to behave? And that to me is just extremely foolish. Like, I think last year I threw away the notion that things had to work according to how I wanted it to work. You have people that will be part of the whole positivity mantra, which is cool. I'm not knocking them. I just never really agreed. But people that are really embedded in the whole positivity mantra is like, oh, yes, things are gonna always work in my favor. Things always work. And like they will repeat these things, and that's just their version of coping with the fact that things don't work out how you want. Things do not behave in a manner that you would prefer. And so your coping mechanism is these affirmations, which I think is great. I think it's great to rewire, reframe, and help you return back to baseline. But when you're ambitious, you need to understand that the root of all ambition is just a desire. We usually either run away from something we fear or we run towards something that we want. Either way, we're running. And that marathon is what we call the journey. And the only way to enter the marathon is to have ambition. Before you even try to figure out how to become consistent, I need you to ask yourself, am I running away from something I fear or am I running towards something I want? Usually it could be both. I will give you a personal story to kind of to nail this. When I came back from the military, I did not want to see my family. I didn't want to. I couldn't stand them. No one lived a life that I enjoyed or that I wanted. I'm sorry, not enjoyed. No one lived a life that I wanted. No one behaved in a manner that I respected. And I wanted to be like nobody in my family. I can't name a single human in my family that I want to be like. Not a single person. And perhaps it's my own ignorance. I don't know them. I don't know my uncles. I don't know my aunts. I don't know my cousins. And I don't care. But when I did choose to see them, I remember that one of my aunts was asking me, "What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do?" And I was I was already adamant on like, don't share your fucking goals with anybody. Don't tell anyone what your plans are. Don't don't tell people what you want to do. Don't tell people what you have planned. Keep it to yourself. You don't need their bad energy. You don't need their doubts. You don't need their unsolicited advice or opinions. But I gave in because she was just hammering it, and I was there with my father, who's dead, by the way, but my father at the time and my mother, and, I just told her, I was like, "Hey, I don't know, but all I know is that I wanna be extremely successful by the age of 24 and become a millionaire and rescue my mother from the chains of poverty." And she said she's like, "No, impossible." And I remember the anger that flowed through me, like, I still get kinda choked up about it to this day, but I remember just looking at her dead in her eyes and feeling this anger. It was like this deep anger, and I ran. I f I ran away from something I feared, which was the idea that she could possibly be right, and to a degree, she is. I am now 25, and I'll be turning 26 this year, and I have nothing to show for anything. I I did not hit my goals. I am not where I thought I would be. And it's a little bit devastating and soul crushing because they're right. But one of the things that really make me feel happy is this idea that she is right for now, but the moment I do it, she's wrong for the rest of eternity until she becomes dust and dies and ceases to exist. And so will I. And so that's the thing that really helps me out. But I'm telling you guys a story because I was running away from something I feared, which was the idea that my family was right. The idea that my aunt was right, my uncle was right, and I couldn't stand that. I couldn't stand it. I I tell these stories because I don't really give a fuck. Like, this is all I have. Like, I just have stories to tell you guys. So I don't really care if any of my family members watch this and say, "Damn, bro, why'd you have to put me out like that?" I don't care. So I'll tell you another story of my brother. I have a half brother. And he is really adamant on the whole school, get a job. I don't like whatever. You have different people in this world, and him and his wife they fall under that variety of people, which is school. School. Like they think that it's everything. Like that's how you develop your personality and your identity and all this. Little do they know they picked up some of their worst habits in school. And little do they know most people don't even know why they're in school. I don't see a problem with school. I think you should go to school once you're already successful and you just really, really enjoy learning about something. But I don't think school is your route to success. And so my brother is really adamant on school. And he was always like, you should do this, you should do this. And it was always just his, like, like, hey, you do what you want to do, little bro. I'm just here giving my ones and twos. And the thing was, I didn't want his ones and twos because I didn't want his life. And he never understood my vision. So it's like, fuck your ones, fuck your twos. I don't care. And so I was running away from his ones and twos too. Of the whole, I told you you should have stayed in the military. I told you you should have went to school. I told you this. Like I was so fearful that they were right that I just ran. I said, with every ounce of me, I will prove you wrong. Not because like of my pride and my ego, but it's like with every ounce of me, I want to show you what's possible in this world. And to this day, it's so devastating to me. And it's like it's extremely painful that I can't prove my aunt wrong yet. Like she is still right. And I haven't spoken to her in years, and I will never again in my entire life speak to her. She'll die and I won't go to her funeral. Like I don't care. But the fact is, we run from things that we fear or we run towards the thing that we want. I feared people's opinions. Like I feared that they were right. And on the other hand, I was kind of running towards this idea of what I wanted, which was to be successful. I put quotes on that. My definition of success is purely material wealth for now. You have different realms of success. You have mental success. You have physical success. Are you healthy? Your overall well being. What about spiritual success? Are you connected to the fucking cosmos? For me, material wealth. Point blank, period. Like that was my definition of success. Done. And so I was running towards that. You got to ask yourself if you're running away from something you fear or if you're running towards something you want, because if you can identify which one is more prominent, you have a lot you can kind of develop a lever that you can crank so that you can just get there a little bit faster. So I'll give you an example. If you are running away from something you fear, say the opinions of people in your city, say the doubts of people that are in your inner circle, whatever it is, right? Again, for me, I was running away from things that I feared. I remember when I was part of this small business, there was somebody in the business that was like, "Hey, well, so what do you want to do with your life? I don't think you're going to be with this business forever." I said, "Of course not. I want to do X, Y, and Z." And I just remember the words of this person. This person said, "I'm not going to lie to you, man. Don't take this the wrong way, but I think you're going to make more money here than you will on your own." And I was like, how dare you? So that's just an example, and those are things that made me run towards whatever goal I had. And so if you're in the same boat where like you have people that are naysaying against you and doubt you and don't believe, number one, I wouldn't take it too personally. It's usually their lack of it's their inability to open their mind and expand their horizons and see what's potentially possible. Uh, Skepticism. And again, they draw from their life, right? So it's simply personal experience. According to their life, for example, my aunt, according to her life, becoming a millionaire at 24 is impossible. Truly. Uh, so if you're in the same boat, what you have as a lever is fear itself. Because fear hovers over you and casts a shadow so big to where like you almost can't see the direction that you're headed because you're just so afraid of just failing. I was so afraid of failing and losing. Like I couldn't stand it. Like just the thought of it just literally brings me to my knees and like makes tears want to fall from my eyes. Like it's just so the thought of failing was just more painful than dying at one point. The thought of people being right was just more painful than dying. And I used it. I used that fear and I'm like, dude, if this fear is giving me anxiety and I can't sleep at night and I'm sick to my stomach and I don't eat and and I can't do anything and I don't care and I just focus, I'll use it. So I let that fear control me, which helped me move forward. It helped me go forward. And I said, I have fear. It's it's poking at me. It's giving me anxiety. It's making me uneasy. Good. I'll keep using it. Because of this anxiety, because of this unease, because of this gut wrenching stomach dive, because of this gut wrenching feeling I feel every single night when I lay my head to sleep, because of this soul crushing, devastating feeling that makes me want to put a bullet through my head, but I can't because I want to just win so bad. Because of this, since it's here, I'm gonna use it. So I stepped away from saying, damn it, I hate this feeling. I hate this feeling. And I said, good. I was like, bring it on, give me more. And so I put it in my corner. Fear was not an opponent anymore. It was now someone in my corner. So I had backup. And it didn't really get me too far, but I will tell you, it helped me keep running in moments where I felt as though my tank was empty. Now, conversely, if you are running towards something you want, like you're not really running from something you fear, like you are grounded, uh, a perfect charlatan, and you are just absolutely divine and perfect, and you don't fear anything, hell yeah. And you're just running towards what you want, hell yeah. If that's the case, you don't really have the anxiety backed feeling that's gonna like, like moments where like I don't do anything and I get that feeling like, dude, I need to be doing something. Uh, but if you're just running towards what you want, the beauty of that is you don't really have anxiety and fear poking at you. All you have is dream, a vision, and you're locked in. I am assuming that if you're not running from anything that you fear and you're still inconsistent, it's because you are acknowledging the gap from where you are and where you want to be. Acknowledgement of that gap is kind of unmotivating. And I don't even like that word to begin with, but it's devastatingly unmotivating, to say the least. Uh, so I want to start with the people that are ambitious, according to my definition, again, which is someone that just intrinsically desires something. If you're ambitious, you deeply desire to obtain something. To all my ambitious people, you fall on one of two sides. I'm kind of drawing this out to help my thought process. Again, you fall on side one, which is run from fear, or you fall on side two, which is run towards desire. Once we identify, okay, so there are categories of ambitious people. Fucking perfect. I now want to identify this idea of inconsistency. And so my definition of inconsistency is the inability to just repeat things that get you closer towards your goals. Simple. If you are inconsistent, it means you lack the ability to repeat the things that are necessary, that are crucial to get you towards your goals. You can't do it. You lack the ability. If you are consistent, you have the ability, right? Inconsistency is a ability. Now there are some things that can, amp it up, and I'll break that down. With inconsistency, the thing that I've noticed is we will stop when there isn't enough, and it could be any of these. We will stop and we will kind of take a pause when we don't have meaning, when like it's not meaningful enough. And that kind of ties in hand with purpose. Like it's not purposeful enough. There isn't a why. And staying the same feels better than changing. Those are usually, in my experience, those are usually some of the only reasons that I've been inconsistent. If I was gaining momentum and something happened, I stopped. And I stopped most of the time because I just didn't see the point in continuing. Like, what's the point? So if you've kind of fallen into that boat, you can fix that simply by saying, why does anything have to be meaningful? Why? Why does life have to be meaningful? Why do my goals have to be meaningful? And when you really just sit with that, it's like, huh. Well, we want things to be meaningful because this world is expansive and it's so big beyond our imagination. We cannot fathom the complexity of the world. We cannot. And how grandiose it is. So it's like when we suffer, it's like there has to be a why. We like to travel back in time. We call that hindsight. We have this terrible habit of going back in time and we're like, oh, that's why it happened. Is that why it happened? Or is your brain just trying to justify why something happened so that you can just feel more at ease? It's your coping mechanism. So do you guys have you guys ever had a moment where you would look back and you're like, oh, you know what? I had to meet this person because if I didn't meet this person, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be here, the blah, 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 blah. Like, have you guys ever had those moments? Now, I want to take the opposing end of this argument. So all the people that say life is meaningful, everything happens for a reason, I'm going to take the opposing end of this and say, why does life have to be meaningful? And who's to say everything happens for a reason? What if that reason is something that's developed by this mechanism? It's called your fucking brain. And it's just simply taking something that's completely random and trying to structure it. So it's like, oh, me meeting this person and going to this club and going to this restaurant and going to here led me to this moment now where I'm fucking rich and successful. Like, what the fuck? Well, everything happens for a reason. Or, or you're just trying to justify and find reasons as to why you are where you are. Something to think about. And I bring this up because if you can just sit with the idea that nothing has to have meaning for you to keep going. Like, you don't need meaning. Like, why? Oh, why do you need purpose and meaning to just go? Why? Why can't you just go? And it's if you just sit with that, you can say, well, I don't necessarily need a reason to get up and try. I can just try for the sake of trying. I can just do for the sake of doing. I can just act for the sake of acting. I can just attempt for the sake of attempting. And I don't need a purpose. It's just, just to do it. Because why not? If you can sit with that, you can eliminate one of the barriers that really restrict people from gaining momentum and staying consistent. Because I kind of want to break down this whole ebb and flow of life real quick. Here's how it happens. We go up, things are looking good. Holy shit, something hits the fucking fan. Something bad goes wrong. And we don't know how to fucking cope. Something bad happens, we don't know how to fucking cope, and now we're trying to find ways to cope. Now, usually the ways that we cope aren't necessarily beneficial or productive, and it doesn't help us get towards our goals, from what I've seen, based on my life and other people. When you don't know how to fucking cope and you are trying to cope, you're gonna do things that don't necessarily help you get towards your goals. You're gonna fuck off. You might do drugs. I did drugs. You might sleep forever. Waste of time. You might just put everything on pause and say this is too much. I gotta just take it easy. None of that helps you get towards your goals, and it's all because you just don't know how to fucking cope. And that's when the downhill starts happening. Like, you'll notice bad things don't happen by the dozens. It doesn't happen by the tens and 15s and 20s. It's what's one bad thing. And you don't know how to cope with that one bad thing, and you make terrible decisions, and now you have another problem. And now you have another problem. And these problems are presenting themselves are because of your inability to cope. And it just so happens that now there are more bad things and more bad things. Right? But it's usually just one bad thing. And if you knew how to cope or deal with it, you'd be just fine. You would continue the uphill spiral. Our inability to cope stems from this concept, and I love this concept, which is this is irregular. Oh, here's an example. Oh, you're going uphill. Things are going well, they're behaving how you want, and life is just so beautiful and everything's happening according to your plan. And boom, something goes wrong. And your frame is this is irregular. Nothing should be going wrong. Why is this a problem? Life should be behaving how I want it to behave. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm the universe, aren't I? Hey, you nitwit! If life behaved how you want it, why are you not where you want to be? Snap your fucking fingers and tell me if life behaves how you want it. It just doesn't. I've never met anyone in my life, not a single human, who said, yeah, things just went exactly according to how I planned it. Things just went perfectly. The universe doesn't work like that. The world doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. So you can just reframe problems or issues or things that go wrong as this is fucking normal. Because the more you say something went wrong, this is a problem, and now I'm anxious and I can't stand it. The more you kind of stay in that framework, the more you're announcing to the world, I have an inaccurate model of reality. And so that's why I'm complaining, and that's why I'm doing this and this and this and this, and that's why this is a problem. You're just shouting to everyone that you have an inaccurate model of reality. But if you switch that and your new model of reality is now, oh, well, yeah, things are random, things are gonna go wrong, and that's super cool. That's fine. There is no issue in that. Once you can enter that frame, problems aren't problems. They're just a part of the process. And so you just try to like, okay, well, here's something that's potentially harming me in regards to me getting towards my goals, like not physically harming me, but it might be a detriment. It might slow me down. So when you see that and it occurs, which it will, once you see that and it occurs, what you then can say is you can step back and say, okay, well, how can I fix it? And so you become really solution oriented. You're like, okay, well, here's a quote problem. Let's fix it. All right, scrap. On to the next one. Right. And you don't just and you don't need to cope. Like, here's a problem. And like, you'll notice that there's two people. Person one, bad thing happens. Oh my gosh, anxiety, panic, fear, valley of despair. And they go down. Can't cope, drugs, numb themselves. And hey, I am not talking shit on them because I've been that person. And now that rock bottom. And then there's person two. Things up, things go wrong. They pause and say, this isn't an issue. Like, this was normal. I expected this. Let's just solve it. Solve it, and they continue the upward spiral. Like, there are two people. You get to choose which one you're gonna be. And I say all of this because if you just see that the ebb and flow of life is that upward spiral, some shit goes wrong. If you don't know how to cope, you go down until you make a decision that being down here sucks and you just try to go back up and it just happens again. And as you try to go back up, more problems, quotes, more problems might occur, more things that you don't enjoy might occur, more things that aren't according to your preferences might happen. And so it just continues. If you can identify that cycle, then moments where you're close to like stopping, like you're consistent and you stop, you can just say, huh, which part of the cycle am I in? So I can fix it. So I can say, hold on, so I can catch myself in the act. Again, I think inconsistency fundamentally comes from the concept that the universe has to behave according to how we want. It's this ridiculous, idiotic expectation. And the more idiotic and stupid your expectations of the world is, and the more incorrect your model of reality is, the more inconsistent you will be. Now, to accompany that, this is why want to take the opposing side once again of purpose and meaning, right? So accepting that things don't necessarily have to be purposeful or meaningful is a great way to cope with hardship. However, I have found that when you do have a big enough meaning, you seem to be able to conquer a lot of things. So I'll give a prime example. Most parents, I'm not going to say all, but I will say most parents, when they have children, the desire to care for that child allows them to overcome the most devastating odds that are stacked against them. I've seen people who the odds are stacked against them, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how they're gonna do it. And yet they do it, and it's because they had a why, and the why was the children. So I'm not knocking the whole purpose and meaning mantra and the whole why mantra. I'm not knocking it. I'm just simply saying life doesn't have to be meaningful, but you should have a foundational why. It doesn't have to be the fucking house. Your why does not have to be the house. Your why has to be the foundation. The house is composed of all types of shit, but the foundation is what's important. Have the why be your foundation and not don't dress up your house with the why. Like that's stupid. I'll give a personal example in case anyone doesn't understand this. My why for even continuing and attempting to keep going is that I don't want to be useless. I don't want to be useless. I don't want to see people that I love continue to suffer because I can't provide them resources. I don't want to see the people that I love continue to have to wake up and put up with the bullshits of life and their careers because I am so poor that I can't provide them resources to chase their dreams. Like I don't want that. Like that's so devastating to me. Like I can't imagine growing old and not having a lot of money and my child has big dreams and wants to start a business and I can't even fund his or her business, and I'd say go get a job. Like I can't even imagine that. Like I just don't I want to be useful to the people that I love. And that's my foundational why. And it's strong enough to help me not give up. Like that's why when you set the foundation it's important. But as you continue on the journey and you're in the marathon and you're sprinting or you're running or you're walking, the idea of purpose and meaning, I have found, is just completely unnecessary once you have the foundation. It's like, dude, I know why I'm doing things. I don't need to sulk and continue to obsess over purpose and meaning. Like, what's my purpose in life? Like, hey, you nitwit, you are not so special to think that you have purpose. I think that everyone has an objective purpose, which is to experience and enjoy the passage of time. And if in the case that you can impact someone, that could be your purpose. Maybe that's why you went to the restaurant to speak to that person, and those words will never leave his head, right? But purpose is theoretical. It's not necessarily objective. And same with meaning. Meaning is theoretical. It's not necessarily objective. What's the meaning of life? Give me a room of 10,000 people and ask the room of 10,000 people what's the meaning of life, and you will get 10,000 different freaking responses. And so that shows that meaning isn't objective, it's subjective. And anything that's subjective, I just tend to not dwell over because it's just a waste of time. Because what's truth to me is not truth to someone else. What's truth to someone else is not truth to me. And so I tend to focus more on matters that deal with objectivity. Like, is there an objective truth? Is there like a plain yes? Like evidence? No, he say, she say. Like, is there a plain old yes? This is the way. This is a one path way. I don't necessarily enjoy things that present millions of paths because it just puts you in paralysis. You don't know which path to take. Once again, if you're ambitious but inconsistent, you need to identify, are you running from something that you fear or are you running towards something you desire? If you're running from something you fear, you can use that as a leverage. And you can use that as a lever, I'm sorry. And then now you have leverage. Let that anxiety, let that gut-wrenching feeling, let the feeling of you wanting to fucking kill yourself, let that feeling become your ally. The reason you're suffering is because you keep trying to combat that feeling. You're trying to go against that feeling. Welcome it and say, hey, okay, I'm not gonna fight you. Just come on in. Try not to harm me, but I'm gonna let you, I'll let you take up this space. Don't harm me. I just kind of want to use you because anxiety is a superpower. That gut wrenching feeling when you go to sleep is a superpower. The fact that you don't want to live anymore is a superpower. Go. Just welcome it. And if you are on the opposing side, which is you don't really fear anything, but you run towards something you desire, create your foundation, which is identify why. Like it has to be powerful enough for you to just attempt to keep going every single day. Identify a why and don't dwell over meaning and purpose. The why is enough. Point blank, period. And Tony Robbins has a beautiful quote, which is when the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change, that's when we grow. And I love it. And I tend to agree. Uh, there were moments in my life where I was consistent, inconsistent, consistent, inconsistent, consistent, inconsistent. And any moment where I switched from inconsistent to consistent again, it was really because just staying the same was just so painful. I would look in the mirror and I'm like, dude, you're such a worthless loser. I'm very mean to myself, by the way. Like I don't really enjoy the whole be nice to yourself. Uh, because there's nothing to be nice about, in my opinion, to me. Like I think once you grow and you become a great human and you actually get rid of all the things holding you back and you actually grow, then you can be nice to yourself because now you have a stack of evidence that's like, oh wait, I was able to do this, and all this stuff. But for me personally, I don't necessarily care about being nice to myself because for 25 years of life, I have a stack of evidence that I am so far just a failure. And that's the truth. And I'm not gonna sit here with the whole voodoo affirmation again. I don't know if you guys know this, but I've done an immense amount of psychedelics, like an immense amount of DMT, LSD, and shroom. So I am not anti-spiritual. I just think that the whole spiritual mantra needs to be put to the side when you deal with physical things. When you are dealing with physical matters like trying to get to your goals, part of the spiritual shit needs to just be scooted to the side because it doesn't necessarily serve you. So I'm not against the whole affirmation thing. I think it's a great way to reprogram your mind. Repeated thoughts become reality. So yes, your thoughts literally can warp and shape reality. But if you're a sack of shit and you repeat in your head, I'm not a sack of shit, I'm this, I'm the universe, I'm love, I'm light, and you look in the mirror and you're a sack of shit, who are you fooling? Just you. And I would recommend that if you're a sack of shit, you just look in the mirror and say, oh my God, holy shit, I'm a mess. Fuck, I gotta fix this. Rather than looking in the mirror and saying, oh, I'm love, I'm the universe, I am so holy, I am like, shut up. If that helps you like take action and change, amazing. Ignore what I said. I am speaking to the people that are sack of shit and like the positive affirmations, and it's their way of like coping and tricking themselves, and they don't take action to change. Those are the people that I would highly, if I'm speaking to you right now, if you're that person, stop repeating those bullshit affirmations and just say you're full of shit and find a way to take action to change. Now, if you can take action to change with the whole voodoo affirmation positive mantra, you win. Ignore what I said. Good. So, once again, inconsistency just derives from this inability to cope. Fundamentally, in my opinion, you don't know how to cope, and so you just pause because you suck at coping with the shit that's hard. And hard shit is just hard. That's why it's hard. reframing hard things as something that's regular and not irregular will literally recon it'll reconfigure your model of reality. And I think that's fundamentally, if you can just reconfigure your model of reality to make it a little bit more accurate, you will be more consistent. Beneath all of that, have a foundational why, something that makes you not want to kill yourself. And I love this. I love the idea. I think I got it from Alex Ramosi, but he said, "My purpose is the thing that makes me not want to kill myself." And I'm like, "Huh, that's great. That's a great framework." So identify, like, ask yourself, why don't I die right now? Like, no, seriously, like I'm sure you have knives somewhere in there. Like, why don't you just die? I'm sure you know where your carotid, is that the word? Carotid artery is, whatever. The thing that if you slice, you're dead forever. Like you'll bleed to death. Like I'm sure you could swallow all the pills. Identify the reason why you have not killed yourself, and that's your purpose. That's your meaning. And I think that's so powerful. Some people be like, "Oh, I haven't killed myself because I have a son, because I have a daughter, because I have family I love. I haven't killed myself because I haven't hit my goals yet. Haven't killed myself because I still want to see the world." Hey, congratulations. That's your purpose. That's your why. Stop ruminating on it. Stop wasting time on it. Identify the foundation. You have a why. Perfect. Now you just gotta learn how to cope with hard shit. Uh, and a bonus one before I cut the video: stress. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the whole idea, we have cortisol, dopamine, the happy hormone, I think, and cortisol is the stress hormone. And there's such this negative, cortisol is always negative. It's never reviewed in a manner that's positive. I want to tell you guys something. When you wake up, your brain is literally flooded with cortisol. So you have to really sit down and ask, if stress is bad, why is it a natural function of my mind? My own biological mechanism, why is it a natural function if it's so bad? It's not bad, you just fucking suck at coping. It's stress, and cortisol is literally the thing that keeps you alert, gets you going, helps you move, helps you be aware, stay on your toes. It's the shit that kept our ancestors from getting eaten alive. That stress was the reason our ancestors didn't become a lion's lunch. Okay? So it's not bad. You can reframe stress not as bad, but normal. And so when stress comes, you don't say, oh, this is so stressful. I can't do it. You no longer say that. When stress comes, it's like, this is normal. Is it according to my preference? No, of course not. My preference is comfortability, happiness, and all this, and everything going my way and zero issues for the rest of my life. That's my preference. And maybe one day when you have the resources, you can get to a point where all your preferences are met. However, until you can get to a point where you can use resources to meet all your preferences, reconfiguring the way you view reality is extremely beneficial and will literally help you cope, which will help you become more consistent. Stress is not bad, it's normal, it's a normal function of your biological mechanism. That's it. So stop saying it's weird. Normal. So when it comes, it's normal. And that framework alone will help you cope with that stress. And when you cope with that stress, you won't want to stop because you're like, I'm fine. And you keep going. And when you keep going, you are by default consistent. I hope this video serves you. That's all I got.